I'd like to share with you how to print to our printer in the labs. In this case, I'm in lab T328 where we have a Xerox Phaser 7800, and a lot of students would like to print on special paper, which is not an automatic thing where you go to File, Print, and just hit the print button. So if you do, that will be a problem because it will come up with a warning that says resources required. So I'm going to walk us through the print process in regards to the printer in 328. I may do a separate video with regards to the printers in 341. First off, the printer drivers have to be loaded properly. So if we do not have certain options available, that means they have not been loaded properly. So I may have an example of that. We'll see. Before I start printing, let me zoom out of this demonstration layout. It's a couple of drafts or something I was working on in a typography class. But when you're wanting to print, say in spreads, and you want to print front to back, and you also want to print on a special paper such as a cardstock, envelopes, labels, anything special or even a special size, you have to know some advanced features of your print dialog box. Now, before we start, this is going to be an example, perhaps maybe of a book, maybe something that would be stapled. If you're going to do a saddle-stitched book, which has got staples between the pages, or in the center of the pages in the fold, you will need to have pages that count in multiples of 4. There are 2 pages on the front of a piece of paper and 2 pages on the back. Right now I only have 5 pages, so in this case I would have to add a few more pages after my last page and actually put some design on them. I need a total count of something that can be divisible by 4. So this is assuming I want a cover and a back cover plus the interior pages. So I'm going to demonstrate one way to manage how to print this type of thing. This would be actually a booklet print. So I have a back cover. I have a what we'll call the inside back cover here. We call that, excuse me, that was supposed to copy and paste. We call that the IBC. So in case you're wondering what I'm doing here, IBC, inside back cover. And in this case, this would probably be some content. Sometimes people leave it blank, but there may be some design here. But you definitely need pages that are, the total count here would be divisible by 4 for this to work. Okay, now I'm going to save this. And we're going to print this in a booklet format onto coated or heavyweight cardstock. Some people call it cover weight paper. When you buy it, it's called cover, not cardstock. To print a booklet, so the pages will be on the right sides of each of the pieces of paper, you will want to go to print booklet. Now in this case, I'm also going to be using I've lost my train of thought, but I'm just going to carry on. I'm going to use a tabloid piece of paper. Now I click on the preview button here, and you'll see that there's red. That means that it can't accommodate this layout with the size of paper. Right now it's set at 8.5 by 11. So I have to go to print settings, and I'm going to choose the 328 printer for now. That's the room 328. It's a Laser 7800. I want to print blank pages because I do have one blank page down here. I'm going to go to setup, and I'm going to choose tabloid. Actually, it's tabloid oversize. The printing paper I have chosen is 12 inches by 18 inches, so that would be tabloid oversize. I need to have that, in this case, landscape, not portrait. And to make sure it'll print well and aligned on front and back, I would change the page position to centered. Make sure you're printing at 100%, assuming your document will fit onto this paper. On marks and bleeds, I certainly do want to know where to cut it out, and I also need to know where the center is. I believe if I click on registration marks, that should be enough. I don't know if InDesign has changed to where they put crop marks on the center. We'll find out when we print. With the bleed, I have set a document bleed. You can see it here. It's 1/8 of an inch. If you see a 0, uncheck that and type in 0.125 IN. and click the linking chain so it'll all be the same. Otherwise, if you set it up in your original document setup, you can just click Use Document Bleed Settings. Just make sure your bleeds are pulled. I'm going to now go to Page Setup and make sure that it says, it doesn't say any printer. So I'm going to click OK on that. And it does say the right printer. It does have the right paper. So this is great. Now, if you had a different size of paper that was custom, you would go to Manage Custom Sizes. And here you would add a size. You would type in your width and height. Oftentimes I put zeros on here in an attempt to have it print a little bit closer to the edges. And I will double click on this Untitled and call it something like, if I were doing a 6x12 piece of paper, I would type in 6x12 paper here. In this case, I do not have to do a custom size, so I'm going to hit Cancel. But I did want you guys to know to do custom sizes, you go there. I'm going to hit OK. Now I'm going to go to Printer. This is where we set the heavyweight cardstock and some other little details. Now I click on Show Details. Okay, so Hide Details, you'll see it says two-sided. That will turn off automatically when we choose cover or cardstock. So I click Show Details. I click on Layout and I go to Xerox Features. And here I am going to choose in the paper, I'm going to change the type from printer default type to heavyweight cardstock. It will automatically go to one-sided printing. Now, I'm going to hit Print, and I'm going to hit OK. Now we will see in the preview that the front cover here is paginated or imposed next to the back cover. We'll see that the inside back cover is imposed, which is page 7, is imposed to page 2, and that does not look right, but it will be when we bring it all together. Here, page 6, which is a blank page, is next to page 3, I believe, and so on. So this will be our center fold, so that one's together. That's kind of like prime real estate. So this should work out. Now, I'm going to click Print, and when I do, I am then going to switch over the video to the settings on the printer so I can show you how to change the paper on the printer. So when I hit Print, it's going to go through some things, and it's going to ask me to accept the charges for this print job. It is a Pharos pay-for-print system, and you do want to check when the window pops up to make sure that it's charging you the right amount, make sure that it's printing a color if that's your intention. And right now, my cost doesn't have an accurate cost because I'm faculty, but you'll see your cost there. If you decide that's correct, you hit yes, and then we will hear the printer kicking up, but I still need to put paper in it. So I'm going to switch over to another video system so that we can get the paper put in there. So let me stop this recording.